You know what the biggest problem with Democrats is? It's not policy, it's not ideas, it's that they keep walking into the ring with boxing gloves on while Republicans show up with brass knuckles. Bill Maher and Brian Tyler Cohen laid it out plain. Democrats are obsessed with electability, terrified of losing, and too busy checking identity boxes instead of picking fighters who can actually win. Meanwhile, Republicans, they don't care about norms, rules, or shame. They'll bulldoze their way to power, and Trump proved it. Today, we're breaking down why Maher says Democrats keep losing, how Trump turned shamelessness into his superpower, and what it's going to take for the left to stop getting steamrolled.
I'm friendly with our governor, who I also get on his case and have for being far too left. And it's becoming like we're friends, so it's kind of a kidding thing. But, like I will talk to him about the first thing when I see him. I won't even say his name. I'll just start on the potholes, or I couldn't get my solar hooked up, or all the crazy of California that he has to wear as baggage. I mean, it's a state where it's hard to buck that, but yeah, I think you could, and he's starting to. He has moved to the right, or let's say the center, on 3 big issues that I could name. I won't bore the crowd, or maybe we will. But, and this is what I've been hoping he could do. It's a lot of baggage, but I always thought this guy has what it takes to be a presidential winner because he's just really smart. He's a great fighter, like he's mean, which is great. He knows how to be mean where you should. And he looks great. That doesn't hurt to be the tall, good-looking guy in the race. The Democrats, I think, have maybe learned their lesson and gone through their phase where they couldn't stand the sight of a white heterosexual man. And maybe they're over that now.
I wonder if there will be electoral, like Democrats love to worry about electability. So we'll often get meta with it and say like, okay, I want X person, but I have to choose Y person because I don't think X person can win, instead of just choosing X person because you want them, because you like them. But I think to that point, because I don't think that we've shed our interminable fear of not winning elections and focusing on electability, I do think that after Hillary, after Kamala, I don't know that Democrats are going to be able to stomach putting forward a woman as the nominee just because of those 2 reasons. I think that there's a world in which Democrats are going to say, 2 of the last 3 nominees were women. Both of those women lost. The man won. And so for fear of losing again to whoever, whether it's some iteration of, the Steve Bannon, let's put Trump in for a 3rd term, or J.D. Vance or whoever it is, I think there will be a reversion if I had to guess. But then again, I told you I can't predict
I couldn't agree
anything.
more. I would, again, and I have made a lot of predictions, and all of them were right except Kamala. And that's okay. I mean, I kind of did that as wishful thinking. But this is where it circles back to the Seth Rogen show. Because them casting the president and vice president slot is exactly that episode. They're going to start out.
Totally.
They're going to go, okay, we can't have a woman. Because we just had 2 and they lost. But we can't have a white man. Or we have to have some non-white man presence on the ticket. So it's going to be, okay, so it's going to be, say it's Gavin, and then it's going to be like, okay, and then, Pete Buttigieg, because he's also gay. Okay, but then what are you saying? That gays can only get the second, and they're going to do the exact episode?
Probably. I mean, that's
I know.
I mean, look, the reality of the situation is that Democrats are the Big Ten party, and there are a lot of coalitions that are represented. It would be a hell of a lot easier to be a Republican. You're just a bunch of old Christian white guys, And so,
well, I would hardly call Trump a Christian.
Well, I mean, but that's who he panders to. He's certainly not pandering to the atheists out there.
No.
So, I mean, that's their problem to deal with. The fact that they have that they have accepted as their deity a guy who, not exactly embracing the ideals of Christianity on a daily basis.
Question to me is like a perfect example of how people want something in the middle. I'm hoping to give them that. And on either side, they're ridiculous. I mean, the Republicans are definitely too white male, and the Democrats are definitely too, we got to check the box first. And America just wants something where we just, okay, we acknowledge our terrible racial past.
Yeah.
I think most Americans think it's apropos to not just acknowledge it, but make certain remedial steps. But it's a different world than it was back in, when we were as bad as Iran. And it's also not correct to completely throw merit over the side of the ship.
Well, I actually think that the defining factor in this upcoming election, again, to predict something that I have no idea if it's going to pan out or not, is not going to be political ideology. It's actually just going to be a willingness to fight, and I think that far and away is going to be the number one thing. Democrats for so long have felt like the party of strongly worded letters. And for somebody like me who has grown up in the Trump era, like I've come of age in the Trump era, and I've watched as these motherfuckers don't care about anything. Like, we're out here saying like process, norms, institutions, and they're like, we don't give a fuck about any of those things. Democrats are like, oh, the parliamentarian says no. Republicans are like, fire the fucking parliamentarian. And this has been my whole life in politics, watching this play out, where Democrats will play by the rules in hope of some elusive reciprocation that never arrives. And we'll say, okay, we'll Mitch McConnell says he's going to put forward these new rules about the Supreme Court. Democrats get fucked. The parliamentarian says we can't include something. Democrats get fucked. Like, every single instance is Lucy pulling the football away from Charlie Brown.
They have no shame.
And they have no shame.
You have to start with that. When Mitch McConnell did that and said, well, we've always done it where when a guy dies on the Supreme Court, whoever's president gets to pick. I know it's sort of weird because, like, 5 guys could die during one guy's term and no guys could die during another guy's term. So it's kind of a fuck system to begin with, but that's our system and we've always done it. And he just went, nope, not with this guy.
He's like, we're going to change that.
Like, the law became make me.
Yeah.
So Trump did not exactly invent that. Mitch McConnell kind of invented that.
Correct.
And Trump ran with it. It was perfect for him.
He was a symptom of the larger disease, but the disease was there. But I think that, going back to that point, whether you are willing to come in there and actually fight back, and look, you can fight for virtuous things. Like, you can fight for expanded access to healthcare, you can fight for women's reproductive rights, climate change, stricter gun laws, whatever it may be on the left. But, like, the key word is that you're actually willing to fight. And we just don't, Democrats are older. They are of a different generation. They don't have leadership that is going, for whom fighting and winning is going to be their MO, is going to be their North Star, and they need it.
But you also have to fight against your own parties or own factions' fringe.
I feel like it will. I think a big part of the reason that so many warring factions on the left are so unsettled right now is because we're not in power anywhere. And so now comes the point where everybody wants to come out of the woodwork and say, it's because of this. It's because you didn't do all of this like me, like my positions. It's because you didn't put forward these positions that I espouse. So there is no winning formula. And so as a result of that, everybody thinks their formula is the winning formula. And I think that once we win, all of a sudden it'll be like, oh, you're right, that's how you did it. Barack Obama won by doing X, Y, Z, that's how to win.
Yeah.
And it quells some of that turmoil that I think is brewing right now.
I don't disagree with that at all.
First, let's talk about this obsession with electability. Democrats are constantly running the math in their heads. Who can beat Trump? Who looks safe? Who wants scare-off independents? Instead of going with the candidate they actually believe in, they second-guess themselves into picking someone less risky. That's how we ended up with John Kerry, with Hillary Clinton, with a string of candidates that didn't inspire passion. Maher's point is simple. Republicans don't sit around wondering if their base likes the candidate. They go all in, no hesitation. Democrats, meanwhile, get stuck playing 3D chess against themselves. Now let's add another layer, identity politics. Maher's not saying diversity is bad. He's saying Democrats have turned it into a checklist instead of a strength. Do we have a woman? Do we have a person of color? Do we have someone LGBTQ on the ticket? And when the ticket feels like it's built to meet quotas instead of built to win, voters pick up on that. It's not authentic. Republicans may be a party of mostly older white men, but at least their voters know exactly what they're getting. Democrats look like they're trying to engineer an outcome instead of inspiring one. And this brings us to the generational gap. Brian Tyler Cohen grew up in the Trump era, where Republicans learned that the rules don't matter. They'll bulldoze institutions, ignore precedents, and laugh at norms. Democrats, on the other hand, are still clutching the rulebook, saying, "Oh no, the parliamentarian says we can't do that." Meanwhile, Mitch McConnell just fires the parliamentarian. Cohen's frustration is real. Republicans play to win, Democrats play to be polite, and guess who keeps coming out on top? That's why Maher and Cohen keep hammering this point. Democrats don't just need policy wonks, they need fighters. You can have the best healthcare plan in the world, but if you don't know how to throw a political punch, it's useless. Voters want to see strength, not another strongly worded letter. The GOP understands optics and conflict. Democrats need to stop waiting for fairness and start learning how to brawl in the political arena. And finally, factionalism. Nothing destroys momentum like Democrats out of power. Every corner of the left starts pointing fingers. "We lost because you were too progressive." "No, we lost because you were too moderate." Everyone's their formula is the winning one. But the truth is, nothing quiets those fights faster than winning. Look back at Obama. He won big, and suddenly all those internal debates got muted. Success unifies. Failure divides. So here's the bottom line. If Democrats want to stop losing, they've got to stop overthinking, stop checking boxes, stop clinging to rules that the other side ignores, and start fighting like they actually want power. Otherwise, they'll keep being the party of good ideas and lost elections.
Remember I had dinner with Hitler, according to Larry David? I mean, come on, man. Once you play the Hitler card, you lost. But okay. So what I can say to Republicans, and have said to them, is, you know what? I told the truth. I didn't shrink from that, and I took the heat from the left. Now I want you to do the same thing. You do it. You take the heat from the right because I want you to be honest. Do you really think it's cool to talk about running for a third term? Because I know you don't. And I have standing to say that to them because I already got my beating from the left about me telling the truth.
Yeah.
That's a really important weapon to have in your pocket.
If I agree up to the point where an important weapon to have, but like you said it yourself, this is a shameless Republican Party. And so when you come out...
Shameless, but at least they hear it.
I mean, you know, I wrote a book whose title was Shameless. Like, that is the title of my book. And that came out last year. And so, like, I get it. And I think that that's actually their greatest weapon. And...
in a way, yes.
Because how do you shame the shameless? What tool do you have? What public pressure can you impose on somebody for whom shame doesn't exist anymore?
To get back to what we were saying a little while ago, and I never finished it. I guess one of us is stoned. But like I was saying, why Trump is different in public, and I was saying his father, you know, the way he was raised, he just has it in his head, and you know, as a political animal, it's not completely wrong, that if you ever give an inch, if you ever show any weakness...
That's the Roy Cohn School of Management.
Right. If you ever apologize, say you were wrong about anything, it is interpreted by a certain percentage of the lizard brain as weakness.
Yeah.
And that's why in public, he never goes there. It's just always, you're an asshole and I'm right and I was never wrong and it was a perfect call. And like, there's just, I don't give an inch, but that's not who he actually is. That's what I found out. So the fact that I have more information than you, the fact that you would think that's bad, that I have more information.
No, I don't think it's bad that you have more information. I just think it doesn't count for anything.
Oh, it does.
If that's who he is in private, because nobody you don't get points.
I feel like
you don't get points for saying something. You don't get points for being self-aware in private. You get points for what you actually do on the world stage.
I'm not looking to score points.
Not you. I'm saying for him.
I'm looking to make the country better. And by the way, what happens in private is what always motivates him, I think, in public. Again, he doesn't do a lot of reading. It's a lot of, I was talking to people, people are saying, well, who are these people?
Yeah.
I would much rather there be people like me in his ear. I think there should be more people like me. And the thing is, I'm telling you, he will listen. That's also the thing
Look,
about him.
I would rather have moderating forces there too, but I
Yeah,
think that world
he
is.
does
I think that
things-
world is gone.
I mean, he reinvented the entire Republican Party.
Correct.
I mean, right? I mean,
Yeah.
all the things, it doesn't matter. It's a cult of personality. It's also his superpower. It means that he can turn on a dime or go against the promise he just made, just
Yeah.
like the most amazing used car salesman.
Yeah.
And the people will go along with it.
Correct.
It does not matter.
I don't know if that's a plus
mean-
for him or an indictment on the rest of the party.
Well, it's a plus for you as a politician or a
Correct,
leader. I mean,
And an indictment on the
Elon
rest of
Musk
the
was the
GOP.
greatest guy, and now he's the worst.
Yeah.
And Putin, like, okay, this apparently was his negotiating strategy. One, surrender, give Putin everything,
yeah.
and then when he disappoints me and doesn't
Yeah.
like take yes for an answer, then I turn on him. And I just cannot predict this guy or what will happen. And I'll tell you this though, he is lucky. He's a
I'd
lucky
agree with that.
motherfucker.
Yeah.
I'm an atheist. I'm not a person who believes in like crazy shit or weird.
Yeah.
But I mean, there is. I don't know if he sold his soul to the devil. That is certainly possible. But he has a luck. I mean, winning the first election, you had to pull an inside straight like you can't believe in politics.
I didn't watch the returns until late at night in 2016 or late 2015 because I was like, Hillary's going to win. I was working that night, and I was like, I'm fine. Like it's
As an
all
actor?
good. No, I was. I was. Nobody works as an actor. I had my other job, which was I was personal training at the time.
Personal training.
Yeah, and so
oh,
I
the
was-
wrestling.
Well, no, it was just like weight training with like clients.
Another way to get near guys who are
Yeah,
sweating.
that's right. That's right. I was
Look, I'm
just-
not saying anything,
They
Brian.
were
I'm
especially
just-
confused when I was like, you have to show up in a singlet.
But let's be honest, you did find a way to put your
That's
hands
right,
on
yeah.
men again.
Hey, you know what? I had learned.
Are you a married man? I don't know that.
I'm not.
What is your personal life like? Let's get off politics. This is club random.
It's weird being in LA because everything feels very delayed in LA. Like I'm from Jersey, like you, and everybody was married, had their families right away, like 20, 23, 24 years old. With all my friends, I went to Lehigh University, so all my friends that I graduated with from Lehigh, all my friends that I went to college with,
Pennsylvania, Lehigh.
all got married right away. Out here, it's like there's definitely a Neverland, feel to like. The
Really?
fact, yeah, there's like a major delay. I mean, all
I
of my
don't know
friends,
what you mean by that delay.
like
delay
people
of,
put. I think with the entertainment, all of my whole social circle is folks in the entertainment industry, and I think that there is such a. I feel like you can when your career is in order, it allows you to get into
restaurants.
say again.
Restaurants.
Right, restaurant. First of all, restaurants. When your career's in order, I feel like the rest of your life can kind of fall into place. But nobody's career is ever in order out here because you're just hustling the whole time if you're in the entertainment industry. And so there's this unrest. There's this sense that you're not settled in anything. And so I don't know if it's like the hustle, and I'm sure other industries are the same, but I've seen it to a degree that I've not seen it anywhere else, and any other industry.
That's exactly probably how I felt when I was your age. That's not how you feel now.
When did you?
You're not going to feel that way. I mean, I'm almost 70. You're not going to feel that way because you have established yourself. You're right. When you're
it's new though.
Your mid-30s,
Yeah.
you're still striving. And by the way, I'll tell you something about your future. It's like this is a lot better mentally because, at least for me, because when
what
you're
is?
well, because one of the greatest anxieties I ever had was, am I going to be a failure? How's this going to end up?
Yeah.
Once you've sort of like gotten past that, we're like, oh, even if it ended tomorrow, I mean, I've been on TV 32 years straight. Okay.
Yeah.
It's like, no one's going to say that was a failed career. So like, there's a certain equanimity that comes over your mind
Yeah.
when you have that you just don't have at your age.
When did you start Real Time?
Well, I started Real Time in 2002, but I had done Politically Incorrect for 9 years.
And how old were you when you started?
36,
Okay.
Real Time.
I'm
36.
Politically
Incorrect, yeah.
But like,
and until then, I felt like I hadn't gotten my ticket punched.
so
because,
but you grew up in Jersey, and so you grew up
Yeah.
around regular, normal people who were not
Totally.
in the industry.
Oh, not at all.
And I'm sure that those people got their lives started way in advance of you, that they were having kids, that they already had two,
But I
3
never
kids.
wanted to have kids.
No,
So
totally.
that was a victory, not a defeat.
Right.
You know?
But you saw people getting started with their lives
Well,
in a different way than when people come out here.
What I saw that caused great anxiety was people, comics who I had started with in the clubs in New York, starting to get like famous because they got to the sitcom level.
Yeah.
For example.
Yeah.
And I was still like and I was like, oh my gosh.
Was there a point where you didn't know if you would like make it?
Totally. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's what causes all the anxiety.
Yeah.
I mean, I came out here and I'd done a few Tonight shows and they loved me. And, you know, when you're the new piece of meat in town, you're always going to do well. Yeah. And I got on sitcoms and, you know, it was all going uphill. And then, you know, at a certain point it plateaus and you're like, oh, fuck, I don't want to be the third lead on Bringing Up Chunky, you know. And then there's a part where there was like the early 90s. I was like, oh, shit, I'm home all day writing scripts. Am I going to ever really? And then I got politically incorrect and, you know, never looked back. But it takes a while to get that sort of feeling that, oh, and
I'll be okay.
Yeah, I'll be okay and I'll be remembered as a success.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not important to some people.
Think about it. For most of American political history, if a candidate was caught lying, flip-flopping, or saying something outrageous, they were shamed into apologizing or dropping out. Trump? He doubles down. He never apologizes, never admits fault, never concedes even a sliver of weakness. Why? Because he comes straight out of the Roy Cohn school of politics. Never say you're wrong, never say you're sorry, and always attack. Maher points out that this isn't just a quirk, it's his philosophy. And in today's culture of hot takes and constant media cycles, that shamelessness works. But here's where it gets even more twisted. In private, according to Maher, Trump does show signs of self-doubt. He's not the same blustering figure behind closed doors. He'll admit things, he'll question himself, he'll even express awareness. But once the cameras are on, it's all bravado. The persona takes over, because Trump believes that admitting weakness, even once, is political suicide. And honestly, in the world he's created, he's right. His voters don't want humility. They want a wrecking ball. That leads us straight into the cult of personality. Trump didn't just win the Republican nomination, he reinvented the entire party in his own image. This isn't the GOP of Reagan or Bush anymore. It's Trump's party, full stop. That's why he can contradict himself, break promises, or even trash his own allies, and the base still follows. It's not about policy. It's about loyalty to him. And that makes him both unpredictable and ridiculously powerful. Maher calls Trump lucky, and he's not wrong. Winning in 2016 was like pulling an inside straight in poker. It shouldn't have happened, but it did. And ever since, Trump has capitalized on that momentum. He knows how to pivot on a dime, switch positions without losing support, and sell it all like the ultimate used car salesman. That ability to improvise and spin chaos into victory is part of his survival instinct. Maher says his own credibility comes from being willing to tell hard truths, even when it gets him slammed by the left. He argues that Republicans should try the same with Trump. Stop protecting him. Stop pretending shamelessness is strength. Be honest about what he's doing to the country. But here's the catch. Republicans want because they've learned Trump's lesson. Shame is dead in politics, and until someone figures out how to beat shamelessness, Trump's grip on his party is unbreakable. Trump's secret weapon is ingenious. It's shamelessness. And unless Democrats, Republicans, or anyone else in the political game learns how to counter that, we're going to be watching the same movie play out again and again.
Look, Iran, I'm sorry, has been asking for it for the longest time. They have been sponsoring every bad news group in the Middle East who is anti-Western civilization, places where you couldn't survive a day.
Yeah.
So please don't defend them.
No, I mean, look.
No, I'm not saying you would, but
I'm not defending
no,
Iran. I was like, I swear. I was like, what the hell did I say?
You and your
what did I say a
Queers
minute
for
ago?
Palestine T-shirt.
Yeah.
Get rid of that.
Like, look, what I hope happens in Iran is I think what everybody across the political spectrum hopes happens in Iran, which is that there's some. I hope that folks in that country rise up, and there's some. It can't happen at the hands of the U.S. I hope that they rise up and we see something. Circa pre-revolution.
Here's the key thing about that. Rising up is so much harder than it ever used to be because of technology.
Yeah.
When we rose up against the British, they didn't have drones.
Yeah.
They didn't have cameras. You could hide. I mean, this, even up into the Soviet era, this was the case. Now, for you to rise up and somehow evade the authorities who are looking to catch dissidents, almost impossible.
Yeah. I mean, it happened well, I don't really know any recent examples to point to where it happened, proving your point.
Well, the original revolution, not the original, but the Khomeini revolution,
Yeah.
they called that, you know what they call it? The cassette revolution.
Yeah.
We're
like six technologies past that by
now.
now.
They smuggled in the dissident's point of view on cassettes, and they played them on their fucking boom boxes.
Yeah.
That's how, and that was only 1978. That's where the technology was.
The irony is that, like, now if you want that type of information to make it feel like you have, like you're a part of a community and that you have more people there to rise up with you, the hard part is that, yeah, it's easier to get that information, but it's that much harder for the reasons that you just mentioned to actually effectuate it.
I mean, I don't know what's going to happen I saw Bibi was with Trump the other day, and they were talking about transforming the whole Middle East. And again, I know Trump, look, I put up my 56 insult.
I was reading that.
You know, I got him to sign that. This is my favorite position.
Yeah.
56 horrible things he said about me, obviously, which were in, I obviously had said something about him that, so like, no one needs to lecture me about Donald Trump, but, and well before I did the horrible dinner, which changed the world completely.
I'm curious about that, about the dinner. Do you regret any part of it? Do you regret doing it? Do you regret the
why would
before or after? I'm just curious, like, the way that all of it played out. How do you think about it? Do you think about it
the
as
people who hated me from before the dinner, the 10% who live on blue sky, just found another thing to hate me for. But their hatred looks ever stupider as time goes by, because their big fear was that, oh my God, I was going to be seduced. And of course, I went right back to tearing him a new asshole every week. If you don't watch my show, that's fine. You don't have to. I don't hate anybody or dislike anybody who doesn't watch it. But then you can't comment, because if you have been watching it, you see that I didn't change one bit. So there was no argument there except your emotions, except, he went to see The Bad Man. Like, yes, I'm thrilled. First of all, you're invited to the White House for a private dinner with the president. Really? You don't go? Well, then you're a fucking idiot, in my view, no matter who the president is. 2, he has all the power. So, like, maybe you should talk to him. And then, part 2, like, okay, I had to make a report on it once people knew I went. Should I lie? No, that was not an option. Never has been for me. That's my bond with my audience. So I told him the truth that, yeah, that guy who lives there is different than the one you see on TV. And I kept saying over and over in the piece, like, I'm just reporting. You make your decisions. You do what you do. I'm just saying I went down into the mine, and I'm telling you what's down there that you don't know. Or maybe you do, but like, to just be like, oh no, how it's just emotional.
No, look, if I had the opportunity, if I had the opportunity to talk to Trump, I'd be happy. I try to interview Republican officials, and the farthest right Republican that I've ever gotten on was like Adam Kinzinger, to give you an idea. And you don't really have to in this media environment because it's so bifurcated. And so you have all of these right-wing outlets. You've spoken to, people have come here and you've spoken to them. There's no need for people on opposite ends of the political spectrum to go on opposing viewpoint shows anymore, because there's so many, like, why deal with tough questions when you can just get pats on the head?
But that's what my show is every week.
Right.
My real tough show is like,
but in in this new media environment, there's
Right.
very few shows that do that. I mean, I
but
reach
you
out
could-
to Matt Gaetz and Marjorie Taylor Greene. Their offices
all
will
came
never
here.
respond. Yeah, well,
you gotta reach out again. You know what? I'll call them all for you if you want. I will tell them to go on your show,
I'd
and
be
they will
happy to
do
have
it.
them.
Because that's one thing that is very different from the left and the right. That surprises me, because usually the right wingers will go anywhere. I just had that guy on. I loved him, Wesley Hunt, congressman, African American congressman from Texas,
yeah.
Trump's biggest supporter.
Yeah.
But it's so sincere.
well,
And he's
that's a
with Paul Begala. Okay, that's America. And by the way, loved it that they bonded. That's what we got to do.
I mean, look, I do debates. Fox LA anchor Alex Michelson,
Good.
who I think
Yeah, I
you
love
know.
him.
He hosts debates between me and Tommy Lahren. I think we've been on like 5 times together already.
Oh Jesus, that's like Muhammad Ali fighting a 7-year-old blind girl. Why don't you fight somebody your own size? Tommy? I mean, Jesus.
I was on
Oh.
with on Piers Morgan's show today, actually, and
good
went
for
on
you.
with Ted Cruz's co-host
Good.
Ben Ferguson. So look, anytime I have the opportunity to
Good.
talk to folks on the other side,
Good.
but I can also see at the same time why people on the other side of the aisle would say, like, why engage in this when it can just be easier and not, you know? And in this digital media environment, you really don't have
First
to.
of all, they should be giving me a fucking medal. All this talk about how Trump's only surrounded by ass kissers. Okay, but then when you have someone who's decidedly not MAGA go there and speak to his face things he may never hear. I mean, I said things to hear. They should be carrying me off on their shoulders for saying to him in private, yes.
Yeah.
But I mean, he did. I reported it. He didn't object to it, and he didn't object at the time.
Well, so
Things like, why are you scaring people? You're scaring people. Why do you want to do that to your citizens? What you did with Obama's birth certificate was low. 2020 election, you didn't win that. I mean, I'm not saying this is going to change the world. I'm saying, like, your shot doing nothing, not engaging, has zero chance.
Yeah.
Mine, this guy, I'm telling you, I know this cat a lot better than I did before. He's a people person. He talks to people. You have to keep the lines open. The stupidest thing the left does, and this dinner is a perfect example of it, is having this attitude toward the right that we won't even break bread with you.
Yeah.
We are so far above you that we won't even sit down at the same table
No,
with
I mean,
you.
look,
that is their attitude, and that makes me sick too. I'm glad I break bread, and what makes them hate the left so much. They think that they're deplorables. We're deplorables, and you won't even sit down to dinner with us. Well, good luck. See how far that gets you.
Well, I mean, right now, look, we're in a position where Democrats lost the popular vote, they lost the electoral vote, and so we no longer have the luxury of excommunicating people from the
Exactly.
party who are problematic, and so that I think that's
or not talking
look,
to the other party
well, the
who
hard
has
part
all
is
the power.
Anybody who has any semblance of an ego, myself included, wants to see, like, you see Trump engage in all this bullshit, the Epstein thing, for example, whatever it may be, the pro-peace, and then he bombs Iran, says going to release the Epstein files, doesn't do it. And you have folks on the left who say, who want to be like, you fucking idiot, I told you so. Like, how did you not see this was going to come, that this was going to happen? How did you not see that when he said he's going to lower costs for people, that he doesn't give a shit about people? He's promised cheaper healthcare before he never delivered it, promised infrastructure before he never delivered it, promised a jobs boom and manufacturing renaissance. This guy always plays the same populist shtick and he never delivers. And so how do you not get it? But I think the way that I have to check myself often now, because the goal is persuasion, right? Like, if you work in politics, the only way you win, the only way you exercise power is if you actually get in office so that you can enact your agenda. That's it. Otherwise, you're just chirping at people on Twitter. And, like, while that may be fun, not that fun if you're watching the other side enact their agenda and you have ICE agents on the street.
You're
So
right.
I had to check myself often.
All right, folks, let's bring it all together. After listening to Bill Maher and Brian Tyler Cohen, one thing becomes crystal clear. American politics right now isn't about policy. It's about power. And Democrats keep losing because they don't understand the difference. Let's start with the obvious. Democrats are too cautious, too polite, too bound by the rulebook. They want to win fair and square, but the other side doesn't care about fair. Republicans will bend the rules, break the norms, and bulldoze anyone in their way. That's why Democrats always feel like Charlie Brown trying to kick the football, while Republicans play loosey, yanking it away and laughing every single time. Meanwhile, Republicans have one thing Democrats don't: shameless unity. They rally around Trump, no matter how many scandals pile up, no matter how many contradictions he spits out. It's a cult of personality, and it works because Trump doesn't flinch. He projects strength, real or fake, and that's what his base wants. Democrats, on the other hand, tie themselves in knots over identity politics, electability, and endless internal debates. So here's the brutal truth. The future of American politics won't be decided by who has the better healthcare plan or climate strategy. It'll be decided by who knows how to fight. Voters don't reward the party that follows the rules. They reward the party that looks strong, decisive, and relentless. Maher and Cohen are saying it flat out. Until Democrats learn how to throw punches instead of drafting letters, they're going to keep getting steamrolled. Politics today is about shamelessness, strength, and the will to win. And right now, our Republicans have it. Democrats don't. And that's it for today's breakdown. Thanks so much for watching. If you found this video helpful, hit that like button, drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more sharp political commentary. Turn on notifications so you never miss an upload. Thanks again for the support, and I'll see you in the next one. Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. You know what the biggest problem with Democrats is? It's not policy, it's not ideas, it's that they keep walking into the ring with boxing gloves on while Republicans show up with brass knuckles. Bill Maher and Brian Tyler Cohen laid it out plain. Democrats are obsessed with electability, terrified of losing, and too busy checking identity boxes instead of picking fighters who can actually win. Meanwhile, Republicans, they don't care about norms, rules, or shame. They'll bulldoze their way to power, and Trump proved it. Today, we're breaking down why Maher says Democrats keep losing, how Trump turned shamelessness into his superpower, and what it's going to take for the left to stop getting steamrolled.
I'm friendly with our governor, who I also get on his case and have for being far too left. And it's becoming like we're friends, so it's kind of a kidding thing. But, like I will talk to him about the first thing when I see him. I won't even say his name. I'll just start on the potholes, or I couldn't get my solar hooked up, or all the crazy of California that he has to wear as baggage. I mean, it's a state where it's hard to buck that, but yeah, I think you could, and he's starting to. He has moved to the right, or let's say the center, on three big issues that I could name. I won't bore the crowd, or maybe we will. But, and this is what I've been hoping he could do. It's a lot of baggage, but I always thought this guy has what it takes to be a presidential winner because he's just really smart. He's a great fighter, like he's mean, which is great. He knows how to be mean where you should. And he looks great. That doesn't hurt to be the tall, good-looking guy in the race. The Democrats, I think, have maybe learned their lesson and gone through their phase where they couldn't stand the sight of a white heterosexual man, and maybe they're over that now.
I wonder if there will be electoral, like Democrats love to worry about electability. So we'll often get meta with it and say like, okay, I want X person, but I have to choose Y person because I don't think X person can win, instead of just choosing X person because you want them, because you like them. But I think to that point, because I don't think that we've shed our interminable fear of not winning elections and focusing on electability, I do think that after Hillary, after Kamala, I don't know that Democrats are going to be able to stomach putting forward a woman as the nominee just because of those